Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw Tips and Tricks, and this is part 2 of drawing this lake map. And I think we got to this far in the first video, and I've already, let's go here to bitmap and see, we already resampled it. I turned it into CYMK, and then we're going to trace this bitmap. So I'm going to go ahead and do it again. I think I backed up a little bit too much. And then trace the bitmap using Allied Trace and line art this time. I normally don't use line art. This just takes a second. I think I backed up too far. We did this in the last video. But, and like I said previous, if you have no thought of ever doing this, I'd stop watching the video right now. You might gain something out of it. So we're going to take our new map. We're not going to delete this because we need it later and we need that exact size. So I'm going to put this one in the center of the page. I'm going to go to Object and I'm going to ungroup all objects. I normally just ungroup some of the objects. Now we're going to take away as much garbage that we do not need as I can possibly delete. Like we do not need the frame. We do not need any of this frame. We do not need the wording because the wording is still going to be on this other map. So the more garbage you can get rid of, the better off you are. Just because you're going to really get into this depth of this thing, and it's going to start getting confusing. I'm not even 100% sure I can make this work, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So we're that far, and now let's get rid of all this peach. Now you could probably grab each one of the peaches and delete them, but I've always found it as kind of a neat exercise is to go up to View, or go up to Edit and Find and Replace, find Object, begin a new search, next, find Fills, find Uniform Fills, next, specify the color. Take this arrow key and get your eyedropper tool, and you can see your eyedropper changes that color. Hit next, finish, find all, and then you can actually hit the delete key and all your peaches colors are gone. So this is pretty cool. So far, it looks like it's going to work. We've got all the objects broken apart. Our map is 15 inches. I'm going to change my nudge factor to 20, and I'm going to grab this blue and hit the right arrow key to nudge it over. I'm going to left click, right click on outline. Now you'll see some trash, and that's from the wording. Take your virtual segment delete key, and there's your first most bottom layer, I'm going to think. Now, one word of warning, don't ever move the map but anything with the nudge key, so it'll stay. Let's try this. Let's go no color now and outline. Let's see if that's going to help us. So the next one we need, we've already gotten that one. Now maybe we can break the curve apart. Nope, it's still not that way. So let's grab, this is the one we've done. Let's do the next layer and cursor over. Then kind of look at it. It looks good. I would check for hairlines. Whoop. Let's zoom back in. So now you have your bottom two most layers. Let's cursor over. Let's see what this is. It is a hairline. So let's back up one. Now you're going to want to delete those other lines, virtual segment delete key, and delete these. These are actually text, or they could be part of the lake, but I guarantee you're going to be so frustrated after you get this thing done that you're not going to want any extra layers. And If I was doing this for real, I would zoom in. So now you have your first two layers. Now we've kind of done that. Our next layer would be this one right here. Click, whoops, sorry about that. Click on it and move it over. That's really a lot more than I want, but we could probably take it from here and make it work. So let's take our two layers that we've already done and nudge them over just more. So we know these two layers are good. We've got everything taken out of it. This might be a part of a double layer. Now we can break curve apart. Now it's starting to show up. Let's see what happens when we move that. See, that's took out a lot of junk. I'm thinking everything is probably there. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, that's a layer. All this is junk. Now, it might be part of the lake, but I'm just going to get rid of it. And that got rid of a lot of our text. There's still some text there. And this is where you're going to come into problem. This is part of the text that was probably touching. That could be corrected. I'm going to get my virtual segment delete key and just delete this little guy. Now, if you delete this, it's going to take away that inside line that works on that one, but I don't think it's going to work on this one because it deletes too much. There's actually two lines there, but they're connected. They go back and forth somehow. So what we could do there is let's try this. And whenever you use the Smart Fill tool, please put a box around it, because if you leak outside the box, you're going to be in trouble because it'll lock your program up. Let's color it in and left click, right click, and we still have that double line. So that didn't really help us any. Let's see if we can't just delete one of them. Nope, you're deleting the whole thing. Let's try again to break the curve apart. And I think the reason this won't come apart is because it's got a bunch of double lines. So we've gone so far. I don't know what happened to our two interiors. I'm going to hit F4 on the keyboard. That's the map I was using to start with. I'm just going to delete it. Hit F4 again, and it brings up everything. So we've lost part of our map. I must have done something wrong, so just back up. This is one thing nice about Corel Draw. I need to find those two pieces of map. Maybe they were there, they were just inside. Yes, they were. So I didn't really lose them, they were just inside. That's what I like about the nudge factor. Let's nudge over a little further. So here's our interior of our map. We can't really get rid of that double line, but you need to find out if your layers are going to be 1/8 inch wood, how many layers you can put into a frame. You know, every 8 layers will be 1 inch thick. That's a lot of layers. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have like a drum sander, you could make your layers thinner, or maybe use 1/16 inch plywood. So this is going to be a little problem, but we're going to pause the video here or stop it and make another one and take it from here. Anyway, hope that helped a little bit. Thank you for watching.